So good evening, Dr. Dinil. How are you?
Good evening.
Good. Welcome to be here. Today's event is called Ayurveda Basics. We're going to have a little talk together about the basics, the origins of Ayurveda. What is Ayurveda? Do you mind just starting the conversation about yourself? Where do you come from? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes. So, as the slide says, my name, it will be presented to you. My name is Dr. Dinil Paul. I come from India. Mm-hmm. I come from this institution called Arya Vaidya Pharmacy, Coimbatore, which is my parent institution, and they are having an establishment here in Europe called as EwB Baltics. Mm-hmm. I'm a part of it. So from where I come exactly,
where are you from in India?
From in India,
yes.
I'm from Kerala, south of India. Mm-hmm. You would have heard, some of you would have visited, maybe,
yes,
or at least planning to visit, so you are welcome. So it's southern part of India, and it's a land where you get many spices from, for example, black pepper. You can come home. Of course.
Cinnamon?
Yeah, okay. But I have more nutmeg and black pepper.
Okay.
Not me, my dad.
So that's where you grew up then, in Kerala?
Yes. So I'm from Kerala, and what else I should say? At the moment, I'm staying here in Europe since about 4 years.
So in Kerala, when did you get in touch with Ayurveda?
Yeah, so we have in our society, or rather in the culture, we have the system of healing, which is rather Ayurveda itself, finding your own cure and listening to your own body. And that's in our culture, you can say. And that kind of natural healing process comes in you till you grow up, and after growing up, after school education, so I decided to learn Ayurveda.
So was it a calling? Did you know that you wanted to become an Ayurvedic doctor?
Both, I can say.
Yes.
rather a calling, or rather also like an option in education. We have big set of exams which you need to fill in, and then you need to
before going to university.
Okay. And you need to choose what you would like to see. And then I was having in that time a kind of a thought, like there will be a time when there is a less of medicine and more of a kind of things which is more like a concept. Health is your own responsibility, not depending on all things around to heal you. To start, it may be the future of it. I mean, I was interested always in medicine. Yes.
Okay. So how long is the studies of Ayurveda? How long does it take to become an Ayurvedic doctor?
In India, we have a very good system of setup of university education. So after the school, you go to university, and the university programs are rather 5.5 years, 4.5 years of theory, or rather school training, and then 1 year of internship. So it's quite about 5,000 hours of training you need to do. And then plus I have been working with my seniors or gurus or
teachers.
Teachers, you can say, whoever you call. They are gurus for us.
Well, guru means teacher,
teacher or whomever is elder to you, or who is more experienced than you, who is more specific in the subject. He can be also who is not qualified.
Yes.
Even you can be a guru in Apple.
Oftentimes here in the Western societies, when you say guru, we associate it with oftentimes sects, or so the term is much more than just a leader or a sect leader. It is a term also of respect that you have for older people, or your mentors, or your superiors.
Yeah, most of these terms have a lot of meanings.
Yes.
Like you can give many layers of meaning. It can be a teacher, it can be your senior, it can be your senior colleague. So something like this.
Okay. So Ayurveda, what is Ayurveda?
Yeah. So most of you would have heard what is Ayurveda, but still to explain the word, it has two Sanskrit words. It comes from Sanskrit. The word Ayurveda comes from Sanskrit, Ayu and Veda. Ayu means life, and Veda means a kind of arranged system of knowledge, So we can say it is a science of life or knowledge of life, something like this. So it can be any form of life, in general.
It's a philosophy, it's a system. What is it exactly?
So as it has strong philosophical backgrounds, you feel that it's also a philosophy, but it's a completely grounded system. It doesn't have anything mystic about it. So it's completely a kind of evidence based, or rather the evidence what we look into is experiences. Experience.
Okay. So how old is
more of 6,000 or more years. It's more of a layers of inner consciousness, which helped it to put it into the kind of written forms. So people have grasped it over the years, listening to their inner voices or elevating themselves into higher spirituality, and when they have a higher consciousness, they are able to connect with the universe better. So they were observing the universe better, and they try to understand the microcosm, which is you, and the microcosm outside you is somehow connected. And from there, it brought this philosophy into practicality, so that you see the herb is able to withstand the cold temperature, for example. So it should have a resistance against the cold. So this is the kind of just an example. You can say how it works and how it's a practical thing. So it's nothing. And these days we work on, basically our institution gives a lot of importance to practical evidence-based system. So even we have research. Just now I was showing you the slides about this COVID research work. So we work on people clinically, to see how effective is Ayurvedic therapy is all about. Yes, something like that.
Today's theme is Ayurveda basics. No? So what are the basics of this philosophy or system or science of life?
Yeah, so like I explained to you, it's about you being conscious about your own health. All about the basics of Ayurvedic wisdom comes from connecting you within you, which is more inner layers of you. So we have this mind, body, spirit kind of a system. That is a specific basic principle, which is coming in the, you can say, first level. And then we have the different principles, the different kind of principles to understand the structural and physiological aspects of the body. So rather, the structural aspect is about how you see the elements, which are the kind of structural components which makes the body, and then those elements, how they do their mechanism, how they put themselves into movement. So these are called as doshas. Elements are called as pancha mahabhutas, and these elements interact with our body, like from external world and internal world. It's the same 5 elements even in the salt or rock, the 5 elements in the body as well.
What are the 5 elements, if you don't mind explaining?
Yeah, so the first element, which is supposed to be the kind of the element which accommodates all other elements. That's called as space. So now, before the universe, how it started, you cannot imagine there was space. There is no question what was before space. So from everything starts from this concept of space element, and then from there it starts air element, and then fire element, and water, and earth. So it you can say water, earth, and air more or less simulates your, the states of matter. Others, fire is more about transformational energy, and the space I explained you. So it's I think you can understand it correlating with this.
So how do you use the basics? How do you concretely in your daily life? What recommendations would you take from the philosophy or the system to give us? How should we follow Ayurveda principles in our daily lives? How would that look like?
Yeah, so I didn't finish with this principle. So the next principle is about doshas. I told you the panchakarmas panchamahabhutas is these 5 elements, and when it comes to the body, it starts. You can say, imagine it's a concept. Basically, it's all these are concepts to understand how the elements are functioning in our body. So air element and space element combined together, Ayurveda says it's Vata dosha. Vata dosha. We cannot give a translation word for Vata dosha. It's about, you can say, the energy about movement, or you can say anything which is locomotory or nervous system or informations, or kind of putting things from one side to other, or circulation, you can say. And the second one is fire element and air element. Water element combined together, it becomes Pitta. The fire itself manifests in the form of liquefied foam. You can see it in normal life as these acids. You can see it's really does its job as transformational factor in the.
You mean the acids in the stomach?
Yes, you can. Okay. I'm just saying external world, and inside. Yes. You can say you can correlate into hormones, enzymes, or acids itself. So this is a transformational factor, you can say, or transformational energy. And the third one is about more, you say, the component of substratum to build, or rather anabolic factor, you can say. It's combined with when water element and prithvi, that is solid state, or earth element combined together, it becomes kapha. So this is more represents the kind of energy which is a kind of reservoir for you, or the ability of the body to create new structures. It can stand also for the anabolism, which is like growing up, like which is thrive. There is a kind of a saying that this is like the cells are destroyed and also rejuvenated. So you can correlate it into this rejuvenating factors. So this is like 3 doshas. You can say there is a factor which is making the transportation. There is another factor which is more of conversion. There is a factor for, you can say, building up things. You can say something like that. And how you practicalize in your life. You see, as I told, these elements, the elements in the external world and internal world is the same. So our principle of approach starts with this idea that similar kind of qualities will increase the same qualities inside and outside. So elements have some kind of qualities which is having inside you. So the similar qualities, if you take, for example, heavier things, you become heavier. If you eat more fat or any kind of, it's very simple to even everybody understand this. All this heavy food or something like very high calorie things. It's a quality rather we analyze. So similar qualities increases the similar qualities, and opposite qualities reduces. So we work for making it in a balanced state or keeping it balanced. And when you talk about the approach, it's more about maintaining your own equilibrium, which we call it as prakriti, or our individual constitution. So this constitution is very unique for each individual, and this unique constitution has to be maintained, respected and maintained. We cannot change it or alter it, or how you say.
So that means that everybody has a different constitution.
Yes.
And so the balance of the elements within different people is also different.
Yes.
So how do you go about figuring out what is the constitution of a person? What process do you use?
A lot of questions. Yes,
we have time.
like you are asking me now. A lot of questions about how what was his the first and foremost thing. If a person comes, what you have to do, what I do is whether it is his balanced state or imbalanced state. Many people will have some kind of imbalances already, and then you need to differentiate whether it is normal for him or abnormal for him. What was the normal then? It may be, for example, for women before menopausal time, it would have been a different health parameters and different structures, state of health, and now different. So we need to make that differentiation. So exactly, you can say the doshas also are changing in the body. So with the aging processes, so we need to give that respect of that as well. So basically, the structural and physiology of the body we try to analyze with different questions. That's how basically you can understand what you are usually inclined to. For example, if you have a kind of a body which is a little bit bulkier, which was normal for you, we don't try to make them slim.
Are you talking about me?
I mean, if you were slim before, I try to make you slim.
I used to be, but a long time ago.
Okay, so something like that.
So if I come and spend, so tomorrow you are going to be here at the ErwuesseBildung, and people can reserve 1 hour with you. So if I come and I have reserved 1 hour with you, so what do I expect? So I come, I have never been to an Ayurvedic doctor, so what do I expect as a novice? What will happen to me?
Yeah, nothing dangerous. You will have a very friendly conversation, and whatever you would like to share, you can share about your health. That's what gently ask question: how is your health? First and foremost, I don't even ask what is your disease or anything like that. But of course, as I told you this, we need to figure out, is it normal for you, or is there an imbalance inside the system? So I will figure out this. If there is any kind of imbalances, you can tell me if there is a kind of health issues. Then that can give me a kind of further questions, the clue what to ask.
Orientation.
Yes, orientations. More about past health issues or even family health. And then more questions will be, what do you eat and do? Diet and lifestyle. How do you eat? What is your routines? What is your daily kind of breakfast, lunch, dinner? And how is your sleeping patterns? What is about your mind, mental state of mind? And I mean, I think that's pretty about. Of course, the sleep.
Yes,
of course, the sleep.
So
and in women, their history of female health, something like that. That's it.
So, what is the difference between Western medicine and Ayurveda?
Yeah. So, like I told you. I ask you questions, like this same, like.
But my doctor asks questions too, but it's like 10-15 minutes. He asks, where does it hurt? He does a few tests, and then he prescribes medicine.
Yeah. So we give more emphasis for your inside, how you feel. it's not your symptoms and your blood test or reports which are showing you radiology or this. It's more from within. It's more Oriental medicine. How you feel it, not the how from other person say to you. I cannot say how is your health more than I will give my opinion with my experiences and what I understand from you. But more than the symptoms, signs and symptoms, I ask how the kind of body functions are, like how you sleep, how is your bowel movement, or how is your appetite, and how do you feel altogether. That's one big difference, I think, more than the just looking for symptoms from outside and understanding what is inside, than the person what himself is feeling about the health. Another difference, if you ask how we approach the health, it's more of holistic approach, mind body connections. We always look forward, and we try to work with diet and lifestyle more, because we look forward from where the pathogenesis happens. Like what was the pathogenesis happen, like the root cause of the disease, where did it originate. It should be from your diet and lifestyle, or its genetical origin. We try to segregate those points, and we try to work on those parameters, how diet and lifestyle can be improved to somehow specifically improve it, rather than external interventions of surgery or whatever. In Ayurveda was one of the first science which had surgery as well. You will be surprised. Shushruta was considered to be the father of surgery, and his book called Sushruta Samhita has a lot of information about even plastic surgery. But of course, our approach is more than curing. We try to work on prevention as well, by diet and lifestyle, and removing the root cause of the disease. This is one of the very major. And another thing is, of course, we always give, like I explained to you, your inner strength, like whether it is immunity, whether it is your healthy state without diabetes or other diseases, inner balance, than looking for the other agent which is coming from external world, like bacteria or virus or whatever things comes to you. And we don't go to fight against them. We try to make your system equipped. Even if it is vaccine, you need your immunity to work. You cannot give a vaccine for HIV patient or diabetic patient. So this is something like making your body to even work better.
So to strengthen the immune system. And the nervous system.
This all health goals we try to implement, seeing how is your constitution.
So would you say that the difference between Ayurveda and Western medicine, in Ayurveda you try to prevent diseases to happen, while the Western medicine is you're sick, that's when you go to the doctor?
No, there is also a cure. Of course, this is Ayurveda is a complete medicinal system as well. We have all the branches as well, like the general medicine or pediatrics, or how to take care about the Garbhinis, this is like pregnant woman, or the how to prevent the old age, how to work with debilitated old age people, or surgery, or even about the other kind of factors influencing your health from external world, peripheral world. So all these specific branches are there.
Usually we associate Ayurveda with medicinal plants, herbs, not really with surgery. So it's something that I've learned today from you, that there is actually surgery that is involved, pediatrics and so forth. That's an interesting aspect, because here in Europe, when you talk about Ayurveda, it's usually about lifestyle, and oftentimes it's like herbs.
That's an integral part of it, because you cannot move away from this kind of treating the the disbalances within you. Because Ayurveda has a specific point where you can also find there is a spot of etiopathogenesis, like pathophysiology, like where there is a physiology, normalcy of the body is becoming to pathology. So like we call it as increased level of doshas or decreased level of doshas, which is giving a kind of a supportive state for diseases to manifest. So we can if we try to balance that imbalances in those doshas, it can prevent the disease. So it itself is a kind of a cure before the disease manifests. It's not just a diet and lifestyle, it also is more about herbs or also the changes which you need to adopt. Of course, when there is a disease on the side, we try to balance as well about diseases. Yes.
Because lately I've heard that about 50% of the traditional medicine in Western societies are actually plant-based or are originating from plants. So there's always a big discussion also about the Amazon and how we are cutting the whole Amazon and we're losing a lot of potential good medicine. So you oftentimes hear there's a big discussion here in Europe about what is good medicine. And we forget that a lot of that medicine that we are using in our daily lives or in our lives here in our Western societies have an origin in plants. And oftentimes, and I think it's also the big laboratories who want to process the different medicines, and they try to recreate artificial medicines or chemical medicines that are not originating from plants. So it's interesting to know that plants have power. Don't have power to heal everything, but that the origin of a lot of our medicines are plant-based.
No, when you say that we don't have power to heal everything, we don't know it.
Sure.
So that is the power of Indian philosophies. We say that we don't know.
It's a good starting point.
Yes. Yeah. So we think that we have good resources, and also we could have lost many of the resources. Like you said, many forests would have got degenerated or vanished by the time, or herbs got destroyed. Yes. So, but all diseases cannot be cured by curcuma. That's true. That's why you need my advices. So something like that. Yes.
So during your studies, did you study what do you learn in Ayurvedic medicine during your 4 years of studies? You probably learned about all these different plants there and what their properties are and so forth. So if you look at Ayurveda, how important or how is it divided? So you have a section on plants. Do you have a section on breathing? I've heard that yoga could also be part of Ayurveda. Breathing, pranayama is also. How does that system? What is it constituted of?
Yeah. So in university system now we have very good arrangements of all the subjects. We learn about anatomy, physiology in the beginning months, beginning years, and fundamental principles like what I explained to you, and many of the classical textbooks we start learning the basics, basic textbooks. So we have physiology and anatomy in modern system and physiology and anatomy in Ayurveda system. We have to study both. And then we have pathology. The next year comes, we have pathology, and next subjects about pathophysiology, which is also unique for Ayurveda. Then what we had is also clinical studies, which is also from Ayurvedic perspective, and that is medicine. Like you can say, you have these books of Davidson, Harrison's for modern doctors. We also have to learn about it. And then this Ayurvedic medicine books as well. And then we have surgery as well in one of the subjects, so which is also considering the surgical books, which at least you have a kind of a clinical level of understanding how you can manage these problems, at least when you should refer, when you should not hold. Like you said about yoga, yes, we have a subject about yoga and naturopathy as well. Something like that. So we have 3 classical textbooks, which is like Ashtanga, Charaka, and Sushruta. Classical texts. We study 3 of them, especially Charaka Samhita and Ashtanga. But Sushruta on the context wherever anatomy and surgery is connected, most of them. And what else did I miss? Something? Yes, lab. We have also lab trainings where we do the tests, learn the basics. Biochemistry and labs. We do have part of our studies. And very interesting subject and very important subjects. Another 2 subjects I missed. One is gynec and obstetrics. We have also been for deliveries, and
so you could deliver a baby
in India, of course.
Of course. But if there was an emergency right now, you could handle it.
And I mean, of course, I don't practice it every day.
Sure.
And in that case, I should refer. That's the.
But if there's an emergency, you could.
Yes.
If there's no option, we could count on you.
And then no claims. But yes, we had gynec and obstetrics. It's not that subject. We call it as Prasuti Tantra. It's a Sanskrit name. We cannot. And the subject has a lot of Ayurvedic points to study. And of course, modern side as well. And then pediatrics, that there is also something called as Coimbatore, we call it as, that's also a subject where we have about pediatrics and also modern books. Ear, nose and throat, ENT, we call it as Shalakya Tantra. There also, eyes also comes in Ayurveda. It is because it is upper part of the body. We call it as one subject. ENT and obstetrics, ophthalmology. And then there is another subject which is about Panchakarma. This is unique.
What is that?
This is called
Panchakarma.
So this is external therapies which we do for cleansing or preparation for cleansing and well-being. So rather these words.
Are these kriyas?
Yes, Panchakarma is like Vamana, Vireshna, Basti, we call it as.
Can you give some examples?
Yes. We give some kind of enemas, we can say. Or we give different types of different nasal instillations, like nasal drops. For example, like nasal drops these days, I don't know how many practices. These are external drops which can even prevent infections and things coming into our contact with our mucosa.
But is it to cleanse the nose?
Yeah.
So it's usually water, salty water that you put through? Or?
That is more about Jalanidhi you are talking about more. This is more Ayurvedic nastyas can be also something to prevent and also cleanse. Daily basis we say put drops or oil drops in your nose, like it is sesame oil you can install in the nose, which is very helpful even for preventing many of the viral or this kind of sheddings because once you have virus on the nose, it locates there and then it starts shedding the viral body into your up or down to your lower respiratory tract and your abdominal cavity or your gastrointestinal cavity, wherever it goes. So you can control this growth and you can limit this here. So it is
for example, the sesame oil, what does it do?
So now
it's an example. I know, but sometimes it's good, but it's okay. It's okay to go for an example.
Yes, so something like this. So we have this subject called Panchakarma, which is also like cleansing detoxes. And as a preparation, we have oil massages and different kinds of external oilation and sudation, like fermentation therapies. Then there is a kind of a procedure called as Raktamokshana, which is like bloodletting, like taking out the bad blood or deoxygenated or that containing toxins. So this practice even now in even other Western world also is many of them is being used. For example, leech therapy, for example, something like that.
But what are the influences? When we talk about Eastern medicine or Ayurveda and Western medicine, is there a cross-pollination? Or are these still very separate medicines? Or do you see some influences from one side to the other?
I think there is a lot of influences, of course, because modern medicine is, of course, very innovative. We learn a lot because we try to upgrade our knowledges, because many times it is very advanced in its how we call research, and also about its new developments of technologies, how to incorporate the technologies, whether it is physics, operations, and how advanced you can go. Not only the biochemistry side, more than that, the imagings and the biochemistry of the blood analysis and that. And then we can learn a lot of this approach, and we as modern Ayurvedic doctors, we get a lot of help from these insights. And rather what we try as in modern days, we also try to somehow find a kind of understanding better with our textbooks. When we refer back what is modern science says, we find that same things in our textbooks, and we get more of a clear picture when we refer back our textbooks, when we learn modern systems many times. And we of course we accept what is good there, what is bad here, or whatever. We can work together. It's more.
But do you see Ayurveda having an influence in Western medicine?
And now it's very difficult to answer this, but I think the concepts are getting absorbed. That's why I told in the beginning itself, it's going towards more of a personalized system of medicine nowadays, because now everybody has understood that health is their own responsibility, and you need to be having immunity, or you need to be, even if a vaccine comes up, you need to be not having any other vulnerable things which is not making your immunity to be getting suppressed. So I think that goes that time makes you to understand that health is your own. It's a principle, like you start from inside now, and it is more of a personalized medicine. So I think that's a part of evolution as well. You go back to many things which is understood, and many of good allopathic and the Western practitioners have really focused on these points. For example, the importance of the basics, like these triads which Ayurveda says: sleep, sleeping, eating, and brahmacharya. Brahmacharya is about the spiritual practices, etc.
Well, that's a difficult sell. How can you sell spirituality to a patient?
Yes, here this brahmacharya word is also a kind of very kind of a difficult word to put it into one word translation.
So how do you
Brahma means you can say higher consciousness, and acharya means your acharas, your actions, or whatever you do every day, routines or regimens to make yourself closer to higher self or elevating yourself. So how is it like? It is also interesting. What is the relevance of it?
Yes.
But it is about you being conscious about yourself.
So what kind of practice would that entail? I can understand sleep, eating, okay.
Yeah. It is also. It's about also controlling your indriyas. We say indriyas means something like you have body, you have mind, you have soul, and you have indriyas or sense organs which connects the body and mind, And from the mind to the spirit, you need to have spiritual practices. For example, meditations or whatever, to elevate your own self-worth, you can say. That you are not this lower self which wants to eat and sleep.
You're a basic human.
Yeah, and this indriya, control of indriyas means being alert about what is mostly influencing you.
Mm-hmm.
Is it money, sexual power, sexual energy, or orientation about indulgence in different things, anything and everything, habits.
Yes.
So brahmacharya is something regarding that, all this activities. It's a vast areas.
Yeah.
Some people follow celibacy as a way to connect with the higher self. You don't have so many of hormonal variations in the thought and the body, so the waves doesn't so much pick up, and you have a proper focus on what spiritual path or whatever you do. And Ayurveda also says abrahmacharya, where there is no possibility to follow the celibacy. You need to follow the more ethical sexual life in a kind of a normal and ethical way, and healthy kind of sexuality. It means handling this energy which is more potential and strong for getting in an untowards direction, in a kind of directing it in a kind of normal good path. So controlling this over this indulgence from indriyas, and making this mind to little bit upgrade, sattva we call it as, increase the...
So it's about becoming a better person, a more conscious,
better person.
And you find yourself the way by practicing.
For example, it's about putting yourself into, like a sattva I'm explaining, then the other one is about indulgence, this is about like getting a higher goal. For example, if you are an Ayurvedic practitioner, of course you need money. But if you don't have passion for the science, or if you doesn't have a intention of learning and making people to get better, if you don't have that higher conscious goal, or making yourself a better person and self improving, that the higher goal, you miss it, then it doesn't go in good directions. So this is what about brahmacharya you can explain in a kind of with explanations and examples, but it is a big topic. We can talk long.
Okay, all right, thank you. I know that you had a presentation. Have we covered everything that was on your presentation, or do you want to talk about a few topics on your PowerPoint?
I think I have talked many of the things.
Yeah.
I think basically about the lifestyle is about, like Ayurveda says, about these things. What is more important is excessive indulgence, total refrain, or indulgence in improper time of thoughts, food, and climate, and environment, and lifestyle, and genetics. So these factors are those.
Well, genetics is not much. Is there much you can do on the genetic side?
So there is something called as phenotype and genotype. You can say, like, there is something which has been expressed and something is hidden, and unless you go and poke it with your diet and lifestyle, your gene to get expressed, you don't get any big problems. So for example, like diabetes or unhealthy, diseases which is genetically going from one person to, through the family, running through the family. So you can somehow reduce the manifestation of those genes.
The trigger point.
Yes, trigger points where if you control it, somehow you can balance it. So, and also this genetics balance is all about, as I told you, this is about prakriti, what is your natural thing. And what you are prone to get. So when we analyze your prakriti, we understand that there can be some diseases which can also happen in the future. So something like this.
Okay.
So, and as I told you, again, it's not about generalization therapy. It's about specific medicine for specific
So you're very careful about listening to the person,
yes,
to your patient. You don't generalize, but you really focus on a person per person basis.
Yes. And what is the specific tailored programs or health regimes which we have to really advise for them. So we look into all these different things, varieties of things. We specifically analyze their genotype and pathology and different kind of tissue vitalities and the age and the strength and digestion and metabolic efficiency. This is one of the big parameter we look. And this is also a kind of fundamental concept of Ayurveda called as Agni, the fire element, which is working to do the transformations of metabolism and digestion. And where you are born and where you are now located, that's depend on geographical things and environmental changes, which is climatic changes. Rather, we have something called as daily regimen and seasonal regimens. So seasonal regimens is more adaptive to that place where you are located and how you are adopting to do those things. So and Satmya is about how you are already adopted. If you are adopted to such a food already from your birth, it's very difficult to say like every day, tomorrow I come here and say to you, take all the spices. It's not possible for you. So
especially the chilies. Huh?
Yes. So and also the climate I told you, and then psychological well-being is how the person is going to be. So this is about the whole system Ayurvedic approach in the treatment.
So what about mental health? Because it's a very hot topic currently in our Western societies. We overworked, overstressed. COVID didn't help much. Many people or created a lot of psychological stress or anxieties, even depressions. How does Ayurveda impact or approach mental health?
So the mental health is a kind of, you see, it's a very, as you said, this is very relevant for European population, because you have very high number of suicides happening, which is very sad. Even the COVID will kill you less, and suicides because of COVID it can be also be very bad. There is a pandemic of depression is happening now. So there, how Ayurveda starts is also, again, I explained to you the ethics, like I told this, the third pillar, you see the food and the sleep, and the third one is about moral ethics and ethics which you should follow, how you can control your indulgences, and where you have to elevate yourself to higher goals with different practices. Of course, yoga is a sister science, and it connects with your body and the mind, because you cannot just say mind, don't be stressed. You need to work with the body. You need to start from your eating, sleeping, and exercising, and putting what kind of cues, things you put inside the brain to act. So this is the first and foremost advice to follow in these kind of protocols. Of course, we have something called as Dhi, Dhairya, Atmadi, Vijnana. We call it as Dhi, Dhairya means how to properly utilize your intellect. So, for example, if a person has a defective brain, we need to work it from your physiology, pathophysiology, to make it better. We may say to take ghee or something like improving the mental functions like ashwagandha or herbs, some of these things, or some kind of even the therapies, which you can say nowadays you have this psychotherapy sessions. You can call it as this, somewhere it comes also to improve the skill of the intellect. And dhairya means it is more about making yourself confident enough. It can be also talking to someone who is making you assured, or reading a book which is also spiritual to make you assured, reassurance, or even about the parents' dhairya. Atmadi Vijnana again comes with completely about something about your own, learning more about your own self, looking into your own self. It can be by meditation or your different practices. So these are the different parameters you can say. Without the drugs also, without the medicines, not drugs. When we use the word drugs, it will sound very different, but herbs or with the herbs, without the herbs. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
So this is about, very basic thing which Ayurveda says there are 3 pillars. Like you have a big building and you need pillars in particular shape. Unless any of these things falls down, or if
out of balance,
then you get problems. So the first and foremost, Ayurveda says you correct this, and then everything around will get more structured and more stronger. So this is what you can say the core concept is about. And about the Prakriti constitution, I told you this is about different anatomy, social traits, and psychospiritual traits, and genophenotypic expressions. I explained you that everybody has a particular kind of constitution. So we have something called as a air element, which is more this kind of a lean, weak, more or less very fast moving, and more about movement, giving energy of movement, body type. And next one is more about a fiery kind of the pictures. Okay, you don't need to imagine it in personalized way, but rather for an examples. So
Pitta is fire.
Pitta is fire. So these people who are having very sharp intellect and whether sharp communications, and this kind of people are more, you can say, Pitta predominant people. Or Kapha is more about having a very good anabolism, build up and strength, and more endurance.
What element is Kapha?
Kapha was the earth and the water element. So it is more solid, like you put cement and water together, it becomes rock.
Okay, good.
So something like that. The cohesion or additions, you can say. Yes, and another thing is about, very interesting thing is about the fundamentals. As you say, the beginning days are said to be like the anabolism is more than catabolism. The destruction phase is less, and building of the cell is more. So it is increasing. So you are becoming, growing. You are growing in development. And then middle age is about hormones and control about hormones and the enzymes. So it is more about very fiery kind of time, where you have a lot of inspirations, aspirations, and drive to do things. And then later age is about 1/3 is about degenerative phases. So it's called as Vata phase in Ayurveda. So that's one thing which Ayurveda says you need to prevent the aging. Then you need to work to reduce this one Vata element. So air and space element you need to control by eating proper diet and healthy lifestyle.
Okay.
I think, and then a small thing I would like to say is about how you can follow your daily regimens. So we call that 1/3 part is also divided in the day basis. So first part of the day is about Kapha, second part of the day is Pitta, third part is more about air element. So you have more consolidated kind of focus and grounded state in the morning hours, and you have more fiery and good appetite, and that kind of changes during midday. And then towards evening you are more flexible and agile to move and up to like this. You can divide it half, then it will show something like this. So, and this you can correlate roughly with circadian rhythms. So which is happening like a body clock mechanism now. This is also something modern medicine is
science.
Science is modern science is physiologists are learning about how it involves the sleep, is how beneficial the sleep is, and it is the best medicine. As I say,
yeah.
it can work with COVID also. It
Yes.
can work with also Alzheimer's, or it can work for better diabetic profile or controlling of blood sugar, something like that. So it can be the weapon for future to make ourselves more stronger.
But what do you recommend to sleep better?
Yes, so
because I have an issue with sleeping, so I'm trying to get some free advice from you.
the sleep problems, I would say it starts because of the more or less as a kind of when you start many times disrupting the rhythms, and then you go forward with sleeping too late, and you got a kind of a different setting for your clock. You yourself confuse the clock. For example, we have this there is a central clock and there is a kind of peripheral clock. So central clock works with the cue, the kind of signal which you get from external world like sunlight, for example, and it says to you that it's sunlight, and still you are in the bed because you are on a weekend and you want to sleep a little more because you work more, but still your kidneys or liver, everybody has a time that 9 o'clock is a time to have breakfast, for example.
Yes.
And then
habits.
Habits. Yeah. So it disrupts. So it gives a feedback mechanisms, which is also giving a kind of disruptions. So to set up is to get the routines in, like you specifically go in that time, no compromises, and then control your lights. Because light is a cue. For example, you need to go through the waves, the high of serotonin, and then the wave of melatonin. So, which is again like it peaks up by 10 or 11. This is about this melatonin, which is a sleep hormone, which reduces by 6 to 7. Between the 6 and 7, it goes down, and then you need to wake up at that time if you want to make this wave to maintain. You need to. The point is to maintain the waves, and you need to sleep at least before 11. You see, the peak is happening between 10 to 11. So there you should start your sleeping time too. And then this is one thing. Another things are kind of simple procedures, like you can do some kind of oilations for the body, and oilation like feet oil application. This is more like vata, we call it as. If you can control the air element, you will be more grounded. So this is the practice based on that. And like distractions, you need to reduce, because towards the evening, if you have too much of stimulations, for example, whether it is with the phones, and whether it is because of even the phones have also the light, which is making us to be different, feel different, awake. And we are here, especially you don't have this bright light, which is also not giving you the spike of dip of this melatonin and spike of serotonin. So it's good you keep the windows open in the morning so that you get good sunlight in your eyes. Even if you can go for a walk in the morning, that will be better than evening, which should make your eyes to struck with this light, strong lights. And towards evening, this light or weak lights like inside home or these things should reduce, or especially the screens. You should
also as a transition to sleep.
Yeah, transition to sleep. And also that's like I told you, this light is a kind of constant stimulation. Now we are in a kind of constant stimulation with the light, but not a sharper stimulation to get the wave up. So this is a few things you can say: oil application, or and of course you can do meditation.
Okay.
So
perfect.
And if you need more medicinal approaches or further diet and advice, we cannot say it in general like home.
It's targeted.
It's more targeted what we can do, or we cannot have a suit for everyone. It fits everyone.
Right. Perfect.
I have a question. You said that we should be going to bed by about 11 o'clock, or asleep by 11 in the evening.
Is it? that you go to sleep by 11 or you go to bed?
No. You should be asleep by 11.
Yes,
Yeah?
yes.
So, like, I've kind of been reading a lot about circadian rhythms. And of course, now it's dark outside. And if you look at what used to happen many years ago, I mean, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, when we had electric light, people in the winter would go to bed earlier because the sign would be, it's dark, so let's go to sleep now, and the days are shorter and the nights are longer. And I know in Chinese medicine, for example, the time of the winter, the fall and the winter, are very much about restoring and sleeping longer and taking better care of ourselves.
Hibernation.
Is that the same in Ayurveda as well? Should we be going to bed? I mean, is there an earlier bedtime in the winter than in the summer?
Yeah, this is a very good relevant question when we say about daily regimens, and this is called seasonal regimen. So seasonal regimen is about, like you say, when it comes to winter, you don't have a very it is about more hibernating and slowing down. But Ayurveda says that your fire is more inside, more concentrated. The heat is more concentrated inside, and if you the idea of Ayurveda is to maintain the rhythm or the kind of balance all through the year. It should not be even if you see this clock, you should not have any much of confusions. For example, you can maximum what you can do is 1 hour before or 1 hour after switching, but more you do, the more the clock gets confused. So Ayurveda always say that you go the specific times which is designed for it. Of course, it is very difficult to follow in the Western conditions where the light is dim, whereas in India we have sharp 6 o'clock sunlight and sharp time of sunset. So it is for this wave would be very, very strong for them. Here in Western society, when we teach, we always recommend that still you go with this same time of sleeping, except 1 hour delay. Maybe you can wake up a little bit late because of this, like you said, little bit delayed with the sunrise. Or you can something like this, I would say, not too much different. As much as possible, follow the same routine. That's what Ayurvedic principles will say. Not like oversleeping or undersleeping. It's more or less every season to as much as possible to align, and the sleep should be at night. That's also a point, what you said, the darkness and the night hours, not during the daytime.
So naps.
They nap. Ayurveda says again about the naps during where there is a sharp sun. When there is a sharp sun, you can go for kind of a nap. It may be summer. In India, for example, you have very strong sunlight, and maybe they said to be isolating from the sunlight. Here, for example, you have here sometimes you have this irregular lights, so your rhythm gets a little bit disrupted. So if you doesn't have a proper night sleep where it is the sunlight is more there towards the night, you cannot fall asleep like longer days. When you have longer days, it makes sense for you to have a nap during the day as well, because you are not able to get a very, very deep sleep towards the beginning of the night. Like 11 o'clock, for example, you are not able to get a very good sleep. So you can have a nap in that case. This is what practical applications we teach most of the time. Yes.
And does Ayurveda say we need to have 8 hours a day? Is there a number? Or 11 till 6?
Yeah, this is basically it comes from this slide which I showed you. This one. This one. So it's about dividing it into this this rhythm of this like Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, and what time it is predominant. So Ayurveda says that you need to go to bed by the Kapha time, where you get this deep sleep patterns, and you should wake up when you have this rapid eye movement sleep, like Vata phase. You have more lighter sleep time. You need to wake up just before the Kapha period starts. So it is roughly, you can say, and middle phase is more of a processing phase. We call like transformation, whatever. That is more or less in modern, I think, between SEM and REM sleep. There is a sleep, in between there is a processing phase where the brain processes all the information and cleans up all the kind of bad things or whatever. The kind of cleansing procedure also happens. This lymphatic systems works to clean up the metabolic waste of the brain. So you can say this part is very essential as well. So definitely you need to start early into the Kapha phase, somewhere little bit middle of the Kapha phase, about 9 to 10. And then middle of the Vata phase, you need to wake up, because Vata is about stimulating and getting yourself moving, and Kapha is yourself to get into grounded and about getting a deeper level of catching up with the grounding factors. So this is where you find this here half. If you divide, then this is 12, then 3, 12 divided by 4 by there 2, 6, and then here is another 2, 6 plus 2, 8.
Okay.
So it's a yes? 8 hours?
Yes. Sorry, I didn't say that. My answer I didn't write down. Sorry, I made all the steps. I didn't write down the equation.
There are exercises at midnight, or where did you put exercise?
Okay. This has upside down. No, it is upside down. Sorry. So exercises comes more towards
6 p.m.
More towards before 6 p.m. It should be something like here by 5 5 to 6 is a time good for this, even in modern times, because this is the Vata phase. Vata in Ayurveda, if you say 1/3 is told as Vata, the last 1/3 of the day is Vata, where it is, you can say it is more like the cardiac functions or the blood vessels are more yielding or more easily expansible. It can accommodate more, it can tolerate more. Mm-hmm. So you can have a better tolerance for physical activities. So in the morning, where you see like this ambulance was going, in morning you have more, you can say blood vessels are more stiff and the blood is thick. Mm-hmm. You get more heart attacks or strokes usually in the morning hours. This is the reason why. So where it is blood is thick, at the same time the muscles, even if it is blood vessels or the cardiac, it's stiff. So towards evening you have more flexibility of the body. That's what the time. Yeah. Sorry, okay. This is confusing. Yes. So this is a kind of a daily regimen. It's not for everyone to write down and follow, but it's how much.
But we'll be sending. If you provide us the email, we can send you the presentation.
If you're interested, it should be. It's
I'm just saying, I was going to ask you, because I do yoga at 6:30 every morning at the moment, and breathing, and I was going to ask you, is that the right time to be doing yoga every morning? And
very good question. Yes, this is also a very good question, because this is something you can say. The morning hours are the best time where you have your own self connected to yourself, and any kind of mind body practices are undoubtedly the best in the morning hours. And it is going to give you a kind of a protection sheet against whatever stresses you have during the daytime, which you have an immunity against all the emotions and the distresses which is coming up during the day. And more or less, the morning hours are the most peaceful time. So I think definitely that should be the time. And yes.
All right.
And meditation in the evening to help you go to sleep, or meditation?
Yeah. Of course. So if you would have read this, yes, if you have read this one, I mean, this is like giving you a kind of a broad regimen kind of thing, like first thing to wake up and then go to toilet. This should be also a very important part of our regimen, because I don't know, many people practice it, many people have this as an alarm to wake up, but it's a very important thing because it is having a kind of effect of cleansing your body. It's a very simple thing, but it has a lot of complex mechanisms to cleanse your bacteria or whatever toxins in the gastrointestinal tract, brushing the teeth, cleaning the tongue, splashing water on the face to clean, and then gargling with sesame oil or coconut oil, and then exercises, like simple exercises. This is not like very strenuous running or anything, something like asanas and pranayamas, you can say. Moderate intensity, light to moderate intensity, not the high intensity. That's what I talked about in the evening, towards evening. Light to moderate intensity exercises, pranayama, breathing, oil massage. So this is what we call anti-aging therapy in Ayurveda. Like you apply the oil on the body. So it's like a hydration or lubrication for the cells, and to retain your hydration in the cells. So basically, when the cells become more dry, it becomes more degenerated and aging. The fast wear and tear happens. So oil application, self-oil application, and then bath, little bit of meditation and spiritual practices after the shower, and breakfast should be 2 hours from waking up. Then there can be some snacks, and then if you feel good, if you want something like fruits, the breakfast should be something like without any whole fruits, more about dry fruits, and the fruits, fresh fruits, if you want to eat, it should be 10 o'clock. And about next slide is about 12 to 1, you have lunch. That should be the heavier part of the meal of the day, because that is the time when you have maximum fire element and ability to digest and metabolize. As this is also another principle, like the beginning of the day is more about the fire which is slowly lighting up. Like if you want to fire the chimney, like in olden times, to heat up the house, you put the small twigs so that the fire slowly goes up and up, and when it reaches the midday, you get strong fire. You can put the hard things in, and towards the evening it's a dying down fire, like slowing down. You cannot put hard things there, and it will not digest and metabolize. It will just accumulate. Yeah. So basically, and you should not forget the breakfast as well, because unless you don't give small offering to this fire, you don't get anything.
Get it started.
Otherwise, this happens even nowadays, that they forget the breakfast, and then you have metabolic problems, because everything body accumulates, because they think that body think that it doesn't have any food. So basically, it's in a kind of a reserving mode. So breakfast is also very important in that way. And then by 3, some fruits if you like, and then 5 to 6 fruit again, walking or exercises. There you can give a little bit more of intense exercises if you like. Towards evening 6:30, there is a kind of no proteins, more of a light vegetarian food we recommend, because evening is very difficult for metabolism to handle all the kind of complex proteins or fats. And by 7 to 9, this is a kind of a self time, like you can say interaction with people, or rather talking with people, or even you can do something to calm down your mind, to read, self study. And there you can also do this part of meditation, like preparation of wet foot massage, like I explained you, this oil application, for example, and meditation, and then sleep. So this is a kind of rough picture.
So fasting.
If you don't mind, there's a question.
The exercising, there are morning people and evening people. So if you really like to exercise in the morning, is that still fine?
Yeah. I have. I mean, these are based on person to person. Like I told you, the satmia, what you are accustomed to it. If your heart is already tolerating about 120 or 160 beats per hour during morning jogging, then it should work tomorrow as well. So that's not. It's for if you are routine to it, then it's okay. But two places, two times which you can do exercises, and ideal times we have just explained to you, where you can have better tolerance about the heart or muscles and this kind of exercises towards this time, and this is more like a light and moderate intensity. And at least you need to start with, of course, even if you are a very big trainer, I would say you need to start with a very light warm-up and slowly in the morning. You cannot speed it up in the morning. This is very important.
But a lot of people go out first thing in the morning, go running, for example.
Yeah, you need a little bit of a warm-up, slow, a little bit of warm-up. Maybe people are adopted to it. Like, for example, if I lift about 50 kg, suddenly now how my heart is going to respond to it, it may be different from people who is habituated to do it. So it's a different adaptation of mechanism. Some people tolerate some. This is a general advice. So I give this as a common wish for everyone.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, actually, coming back to this lady's question, I also understood, because I've learned a little bit about Ayurveda before, that also certain people can be more vata, and more pitta. So if someone is more pitta, they may be able to do the running in the morning. That makes them more of a morning intensive person. Is that correct? That the doshas are also, we have tendencies.
Yeah, all these things you need to, as I told you, this needs to be customized. Like you need to look through what is the person, what kind of things are unique in that person. If he can be like this pitta predominant or kapha predominant, for example, kapha predominant person who wants to lose weight, they need to do training maybe in the morning, which can help them throughout the day have a higher metabolism going. So what is the goal of it? I mean, it may vary to person. The dosha constitution which you have, it may also be prominent. But I think with the pitta, I don't know. I think it's also something like the idea is not to make that person more intensive. It is more to make the person more balanced. It's not to make him more intensive. It's not to make him balanced and down-regulate. Yeah. Sometimes the trainings also make the person more calm. Even that can also make the process how they do it. So it depends. It needs a customization. Of course, you need advice from
Any more questions before we conclude?
Just one more question on the food. So fasting, Ayurveda, so the fasting, so missing a meal, which is very in at the moment.
Sure.
That's completely out for Ayurveda. In Ayurveda, you must have a breakfast. You should have you must have breakfast. It's the structure, isn't it?
So when you say about fasting, there is also kind of informations which are told about fasting. You can say, or you can understand these principles itself about understanding fasting. Like the trend which you are saying about, there is a kind of window eating, which is already in our concept. Like, of course, it is there in our concept, like keeping a gap of breakfast and dinner, or evening light food, which is almost like fasting. If you skip the dinner, I'm happy. As an Ayurvedic doctor, I say, okay, you can skip the dinner, no problem. You eat breakfast and lunch, whereas people more eat dinner and sometimes lunch. So little bit of lunch and more dinner. So this is a kind of one thing daily basis which you are doing. If you are looking for fasting for a kind of detoxifying kind of practices, the first level is like what kind of detoxifying, what kind of intensity you need. You need to also see that if person has a ability to tolerate the fasting, like his tissues, his energy, his hydration is enough for fasting. On that conditions, we say customized fastings with the cooked food, which is very bland foods. Some of the very bland diet, which is like rice porridges or something like very, very simple kind of lentils or rice or something like this. And of course, kind of complete fasting without water or with water, you mean, or with the fruits. Fruits also, this is also very big trend. That's something very, you need to see whether the person is able to have that. There is no, the fire is good. About the fruits, I mean to say, Ayurveda says it should be very much customized. It should be seasonal. It should not have, the person should not have any cold symptoms or kind of ama toxins in the body, which may increase the problems. Similar, something like that. But at the same time, it has also its benefits. Where to apply what we need to say. So it's very difficult to generally say to people to every day like fast. Like you can also fast, that person also can fast other person. It depends to person. And like I said, daily basis of fasting, this window eating is very much in this principle itself.
Yeah,
like
6:30 to 8.
It's good, and also these times are also by us. It's not basically completely there is no textbooks which says that 6:30 is the time for dinner for the dinner. It's supported with the principles which we learned in the classical textbooks. So modern writers also have different interpretations as well. But this is what we teach.
All right. Just as last word, tomorrow Dr. Dinil will be here. We had a few cancellations, so tomorrow you can still book 1 hour of consultation with Dr. Dinil. There's an opening at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. There's one at noon, and I have booked at 4 o'clock, but I can do it in the morning if somebody wants to take a consultation at 4 o'clock. So if anybody is interested, you can talk to us after we finished. Dr. Dinil, thank you very much for your time and for this nice discussion.
Thank you.
And see you tomorrow.
Thank you for your sharp ears to listen to my feeble voice.
Well, we'll have it on video, so in about a week it will be on YouTube. So.
Yeah. So I'm more habituated to see and talk, and then I'm habituated to walk. Which
next
is
time,
in my ear, and next time. Yes.
So next time you'll be here in Luxembourg is in December. We will have a conference here on the 17th, which is a Thursday, 17th of December, and the topic is Ayurveda for aging well. And the Friday, the 18th of December, we will have a full day of consultations as well. You can book an hour with Dr. Dinil. All right. Thank you very much for your time, and have a good evening.
Thank you.